B1 family, welcome to Blacklogic. This evening we're going to be talking about something that has been very consistent and that neither party has done really any actions to decrease, decline, or to eradicate violence that's coming from illegal immigration. Now, they even have these pop stories where they're talking about how there's no significant increase in crime due to migrants or illegal immigrants who are committing crimes, even though that we have reports, we have news stories all over the country of illegal activity in many cases, whether it be the R word, we know what we're referring to, we call it another R word, uh, illegal drugs, illegal squatting, robbing, all sorts of things are occurring because of illegal immigration, but they say there's no data to support that illegal immigration equals heightened crime rates. But before we get into that, good evening to everyone. My warrior brother DSB. I see we got Bathroom, Jesse Paris, and we have other people. B1 salute to all of you guys and ladies in the room, and he'll be joining me here this evening. We won't be long, family, but there's some things I want to cover right before we get into this increase, or rather this steady amount of violence that's coming from illegal immigrants that's, believe it or not, family, affecting Black Americans more than a lot of people may think so. Because again, large amounts of illegal immigrants have been dropped off, and we know the two culprits that's mainly there, but they've been dropped off in DC, Colorado, Chicago, New York. There's been, all over the place, family. They've been being dropped off. They've been flown in, bus in, walked to. So there's a lot of things that are occurring in that space. But before we go there, okay, I do want to bring something, guys, to your attention. I know you guys have been watching this, okay? All of the protesting that is, quote unquote, transforming into riots at places like UCLA, okay? That's one of the main campuses that a lot of protesting that are occurring. And a lot of this is turning, I won't say violent, but they are vandalizing a lot of school property. They're destroying a lot of school property. And yes, I'm going to make it racial. Yes, I am. I just want you to have this question in mind. What if they were Black? That's all I have for you. What if they were Black?
Over the war in Gaza.
Confrontations are increasingly tense and sometimes violent.
Stop killing children! Stop killing children!
Protests like these are getting wide attention across the country and on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are working on a bill to curb anti-Semitism.
KTLA's Sarah Welch joins us live from UCLA with today's development. Sarah.
Sharon, Micah, some new developments tonight. Let me step out. You can see some of the increased police security here on the campus this evening. There's also word that a letter is circulating within the encampment tonight from UCLA administration declaring the encampment unlawful and that negotiations with these demonstrators could begin overnight at UCLA. Officers in riot gear separated about 60 counter-protesters who tried to get through the pro-Palestinian barricade on Dixon Plaza near the Powell Library. This morning, protesters chanted, "Let him go," as a demonstrator was arrested for climbing this scaffolding with a Palestinian flag flying on it. Vandals also sprayed graffiti on the doors of Royce Hall.
You cannot put graffiti saying Intifada on Royce Hall. Most students don't even know what that means. Baby killers, Israel, Satan, that just goes too far.
Leave me alone. This morning, a man on crutches, not affiliated with the protest.
And I got it. Some of you are asking the question, what does it have to do with Black people? Nothing. But it shows you how certain groups will go to bat for non-Black groups. And we know that we've been brutalized, persecuted in this country, and we've never have turned out like this. But the main thing is this. They're only arresting maybe one or two outliers, but they're having unlawful protests, quote unquote, that supposedly is disrupting the campuses. So again, a lot of these things that occurred in America, January 6th riots on the Capitol, right, where there was one fatality of a woman who was being very intrusive and trying to break in the quarters where the congressmen were being held, were being protected by secret services. would have majority of the people that was at January 6th were black? Would have happened to them? Do you think there would have been more fatalities? And so we have all these reports of protesters. Some are becoming violent. Okay. And my question is, this just shows your reflection that the America that some people live in, black people don't live in that America.
Breaking news, a massive show of force to crack down on college campuses in New York City. The NYPD moving in huge machinery to get into a building occupied by students and other people, perhaps, on the Columbia campus, cutting locks and making hundreds of arrests. The NYPD updating that number just now to 282 protesters from Columbia and City College in handcuffs.
Those people that were processed overnight, our camera right there as some were released from custody during the early morning hours. A crowd of supporters were gathered out there cheering them on. Mayor Adams speaking just moments ago.
We said from the beginning that students have a right to protest, and free speech is the cornerstone of our society. But as our major concern, we knew and we saw that there were those who were never concerned about free speech. They were concerned about chaos.
That news conference with the mayor and NYPD officials can.
So basically, they're getting arrested and then they're letting them go. That's basically what's going on.
Somebody dropped their phone. Will you give it to somebody? Yeah.
So yeah, family, I just wanted to make you abreast of all the protests. Now, the last one was at UCLA. This one's at Boston College. They're having nationwide protests with the conflict with Palestine, Hamas, and Israel. And I'm just showing you that they don't have the same smoke when things occur in the black community and we get killed unjustly. Now, the only turnout that I saw, and of course, everybody, it was like a sort of a world coalition, but they used George Floyd's death in order to perpetuate their own perspectives and narratives about things that are going on in their communities. But again, we know what this is about, family. We know this is about, okay? So I just wanted to make you guys abreast of that situation. I know you guys probably heard a little bit about it, but we're gonna get into these migrants, man. There have been all sorts of violence that has been occurring in all the shelters that New York, Chicago, and states have been providing for illegal immigrants. Either they got there on their own accord, either they were bused by Texas and Florida or flown in, or even Joe Biden flying in 320,000 illegal immigrants in the country. However they got there, they are now installing, and I know you guys seen that a lot of illegal immigrants were squatting in people's homes, using our own laws against us. They also have the right to carry guns. There's no stop of the amount of benefits and resources that illegal immigrants are essentially receiving for this country. And I look at the American citizens. What are the American citizens receiving? What about the homeless? What about the mental impaired? There's so many things that Americans have issues of our own, but illegal immigrants are receiving this. I'm not against legal immigration. I am against illegal immigration, and this need to be pouted. This need to be reported constantly so Americans know, should they vote? Who should they vote for? Because what are you voting for? What are you voting for? Everybody has their own special interests. Everybody has their own special interests. So when I think about who I'm voting for and what this country has done with my people, let me show you something here. Thought I had a video file queued up for you guys. Let me get this popping here. Let's see here. See if I can get this to play for you guys. Now, I had a video loaded up for you guys. Let me see if I can get that video loaded up once more. Let me get that video loaded up. I want to show you this migrant brawl.
In Harlem tonight after violence erupted outside a migrant shelter over the weekend.
A group of disorderly men were seen throwing objects at people walking by. Fox 9's Christine Russo joins us live from Harlem. Christine, what do we know about what happened?
Natasha, Steve, so yesterday police told us that a group of migrant men staying at this shelter started this fight yesterday morning by throwing objects at people who were just walking by here. But then today, police were no longer able to confirm that they were migrants. Regardless, a fight did break out here and ultimately sent 2 people to the hospital. A Sunday morning fight outside a Harlem shelter sent 2 people to the hospital. Witnesses say a group of men standing outside the shelter at 31 Central Park North were throwing objects at people walking by. They say when a 35-year-old man tried to step in and stop them, he was pushed through a glass door of an apartment building. Then a 41-year-old man tried to intervene in that attack and was also assaulted by the original group. Police say both victims were treated for their injuries at the hospital. Neighbors who've lived here for years say,
you know what? This makes me think. This makes me think of 9/11, right? For a long time, Black folk, we have been wrongfully accused. We have been prosecuted. We've been beaten. We've been killed by race soldiers with badges, as well as white supremacists and extremists. But during 9/11, the focus turned from Black folk to people in certain communities because of the terrorist attacks, okay? Because Black people have never really been the problem when it comes to violence in America. Let me tell you why. Majority of crimes that Black people commit are where Black people live. So who is the crime affecting? Black people. When you have people just standing on the side of the road, walking down the street, and you have people who are illegally in the country throwing objects at them, pushing people through glass doors, where lies the problem? Because we keep getting these reports of Black people as the criminal class in America. Show me a foundational Black American, a U.S. freedman. Show me someone who lineage stemmed from this country prior to the 1890 census, and show us this inflicting acts of violence on innocent bystanders, inflicting acts of violence on other communities. We do it in our own communities if we do it, don't we, family? So how are we the criminal class? Let me show you something else here. Let me show you something else. What about this? I mean, I'm just asking the question. When have you seen that in broad daylight in Times Square, downtown New York City, where a bunch of Black folk, hold on, with a bunch of Black folk just committing gang violence or brawls for whatever reason of situations happening to shelters. You don't see that from us. You don't see that from us. Because let's really talk about a harsh reality. You have families strolling down neighborhood streets, children playing in parks. Suddenly, chaos erupts. Gang violence fueled by illegal immigrants battling for turf dominance. That's what this is about, family. Think about what we have in this country. Because for a long time, everybody was pointing the finger at the Mexicans. Then they started pointing their fingers at the Venezuelans. Then they started to point their fingers at the Colombians and the Cubans and the Haitians. But family, illegal immigration is out of hand. And they come from all of these countries. They don't only come from Mexico or Central America or Northern South America or the Caribbean or Africa. They come from all of those countries, family. And they are illegally in the country committing crimes. They are illegally in the country starting mayhem, broad daylight in the street, downtown, causing all sorts of havoc. But if you talk about it, then you're racist. If you talk about it, then you're anti-immigrant. Because what's causing this turmoil? If you look at the situation in border states like Texas, California, Arizona, New Mexico, overflowing of shelter and hotels housing illegal immigrants have become breeding grounds for crime. Who has been the catalyst for this? The Democratic Party, by the way of Joe Biden. And even before then, there had been loopholes in immigration for a long time, and both political parties play a role. The reason why there's loopholes in a tax code, the reason why there's loopholes in our tax system is for those who are knowledgeable, those who are rich to steadily get by. That's why certain organizations, Amazon, Google, you name it, they only pay like $2 or $3 in taxes, and they make billions of dollars each year, and it's legal. And it's legal, family. Just as well, a lot of these illegal immigrants coming over here for economic asylum, which is not part of the immigration laws, they're coming over here under the guise, under the veil, under the covering, over the mask of political asylum and refugees, even though we know that's not what it is. And these states, these sanctuary cities, these sanctuary states, by the way of Republican-ran states, are pushing illegal immigration. Because here's the thing, Texas, they want to put up a lot of barriers. They want to put up barbed wires. These are very minuscule tactics to slow down and to decrease illegal immigration. Why? Because legislation is more powerful than you putting up barriers. Because that's going to provide more resources. What about making legislation prosecuting those business owners in Texas, those business owners in Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, and California who are hiring illegal immigrants? Then some people, oh, well, you know, they start doing that. The orange is going to go up from 50 cents a pound to $1 a pound. That means that you can no longer buy your Jordans. You have to buy you some regular Air Force Ones. Not a problem. Not a problem. Because the answer lies in the failure to enforce. The answer lies in the failure to enforce immigration laws. Because we have regulations in place for a reason, yet they're being trampled on, creating a haven for criminals to thrive. It's time to wake up and smell the reality, folks, because here's the thing. Are all illegal migrants, are all illegal aliens, are all illegal immigrants criminals? Then the question lies, if they are illegally in the country, I digress. I digress, because we understand that they just didn't get here by themselves, right? Because President Biden's lenient policies only exacerbated this entire illegal immigrant situation. Excuse me. Because by neglecting to enforce immigration laws, family, and allowing loopholes to persist, he has turned a blind eye to the safety of American citizens. And it's time for action. And time for action doesn't mean you go and vote for Donald Trump. What is Donald Trump going to do for Black Americans? See, we have to let one political party burn and not hold the office of the presidency, not withhold their power in order to show our unification and power. We don't have to be in the streets and yelling and screaming and protesting. No. You just sit there and you pick your fingers. Okay, you just sit there and pick your fingers and be on the couch. And a lot of people don't like that because a lot of people, believe it or not, are 1 to 2 issue voters. Like they have this one issue that they want to vote on. But the biggest issue for Black Americans is reparations. And see, family, the reason why these stories about illegal immigrations are very important is because these illegal immigrants, for the most part, are being dropped off in Black neighborhoods. And for the Black people who like, well, I don't see an issue with this, and they need some place to go to, and America's the land of opportunity, and where are these illegal immigrants being dropped off? Haven't we seen this before with the Asians? Remember when they had illegal immigrant Asians, they dropped them off in Black neighborhoods. And those Black mom and pop shops started to disappear. And then every corner store in Black neighborhoods were Asian. I have nothing against Asians. This is just the truth, family. These are just facts. We've seen this before. So history tells me that here in the next 5 years, majority of those corner stores are going to be Hispanic, are going to be Latino because of the sheer numbers of the amount of people that's coming over here. Yeah, you're going to have your 7-Elevens ran by Middle Easterners and Ethiopians, yeah, and Indians. You're going to have that. But if you notice, all of these different groups who come here, whether they're legally or illegal, they're the ones with all of the stores. They're the ones with all of the brick and mortars. And it doesn't matter what country you go into. It doesn't damn near matter what state you're going to. Isn't there a Chinatown everywhere? Some of these groups, believe it or not, family, are honorary white. I just want to let you know that. Now, I'm not stating the entire system is against Black folk, but what has the entire system done to Black folk? And there's people to this day to deny these facts. I don't know how. I just don't know how. Because there's a lot of strengthening enforcement measures that America needs to do to crack down on illegal entry inside the country. And these loopholes are dangerous for everybody. Mostly for Black Americans, but they're dangerous for everyone. Okay, because there's a lot of other groups speaking out against this as well. And it's not about Black folk trying to turn their back on people in need. It's about safeguarding our communities and upholding the rule of law, because we have all sorts of tether groups that tell us, Black Americans, you guys are lazy. Black Americans, you guys don't have jobs. Black Americans, you don't do anything for America. You guys are the criminal class. You guys are doing this. And then my counter argument to that is, how do you think that these opportunities exist today? How do you think legislation got passed for you guys to come over here and leech off of Black Americans and the foundation that we've laid for immigrant groups? This is the reason why immigration is so heavy, because our forefathers and ancestors are the ones who fought for all of these equal rights that we do not receive. Now, the question may be this, because people like, well, in those countries, they are fleeing political. No. You look at some of these countries, with the exception of Ecuador and Haiti, a lot of these countries are doing, they're doing okay, but they have to create opportunities for themselves. This is and I said this before, this is the same thing that happened to ancient Rome, family, where everybody was flocking to Rome because they didn't want to build where they were. And that's just one example. But some people may say, is it divisive to prioritize the safety and security of Black Americans and Americans? Is it divisive if Americans stand up against illegal immigration? Is that divisive? Or is we just trying to put America first? Or we're trying to stop a lot of violence and crime that may occur from illegal immigration? I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions, family. Because there's many stories out here that shows us what's truly going on. Okay? Okay, I got to bring it up. When have you seen the police trying to apprehend a Black person, gets them on the ground, 2 police officers, and other Black folk that are surrounding the police officers are kicking and striking and assaulting police officers? Where have you seen that? And those Black people didn't get shot, killed, tased, mace, pepper sprayed, etc., or billy club. Where have you seen that? Family, I'm just pointing out a clear distinction, okay? Now, here's another thing too, family, I want to point out, right? I'm just gonna point out a lot of this stuff, right? I want to make sure I'm very clear, concise, and transparent. This violence on one particular side, when we see street violence and physical violence, yeah, you see that it's mostly coming from the Latino illegal immigrant class. But there's all other sorts of violence that's coming from other illegal immigrant groups like Asians, by the way of Chinese, Indians, okay, that are very discriminatory and predatory when it comes to them setting up shop in America. You guys seen all the videos of our beautiful Black sisters unfortunately being assaulted because of they're complaining about their nails. They're locking the doors on our sisters. Okay. And granted, I know a lot of you like they shouldn't patronize those businesses. We should be starting our own businesses when it comes to nails and hair. Yes, we should. Yes, we should, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But I just want to point out that I'm not targeting that one community. I'm talking a lot of the illegal immigration that is kind of leading to violence. And then you'll have stories out of the media, and they're kind of using this to go against Trump. They're saying that Trump's claims of a migrant crime wave are not supported by national data. Okay, so if it's not being supported by national data, so the things that we're looking at, all these video clips of migrants fighting in the street, they had a brawl in DC. There was a clip out of DC. They had a brawl in DC, New York. They're fighting all over the place, family. They're fighting in Black neighborhoods majority of the time, or they're fighting in these very, very public places around shelters, okay? But they're stating here that Trump's claims of a migrant crime wave are not supported by national data. Who runs the national data? Who's allowing illegal immigration? Well, my 2-hour research tells me that maybe some things are not just being reported. To fit an agenda, why we will report things if we're trying to fit a narrative and an agenda? Why we will report all the crime levels? But I'll get into this. I'll get into this, family. Let me blow this up just a little bit more here. Okay. Let me see. No, let's make it full screen. Let's make it full screen. Migrant crime, a category he has coined and defined as a terrifying binge on criminal activity committed by undocumented immigrants spreading across the country. It states that, in New York, what's happening with crime, it is through the roof, and it's called Migrant. The former president said at a rally in Michigan earlier this month, they beat up police officers, which is true. We've seen that on multiple occasions. You've seen that they go in, they stab people. We've seen that on multiple occasions. Hurt people, shoot people. We've seen that with the illegal immigrant who was legally under federal law carrying a weapon. Family, the federal judge stated that the illegal immigrant had right under the Second Amendment of the Constitution to legally carry a firearm, and with that firearm, he killed someone. And they say, oh, it was self-defense, but he's illegal in the country. I just had to point that out. It's crazy. It says it's a whole new form, and they have gangs now that are making our gangs look like small potatoes. They're making our gangs look like small potatoes. Now, when he mean our gangs, what is he referring to? What is Donald Trump referring to when he mean our gangs? Is he talking about the biker gangs? Is he talking about that? Is he talking about the 1%er gangs from the white society? Is he talking about extreme white supremacist group? Is he talking about skinheads? Is he talking about Patriot Front? Is he talking about all these different white extreme groups? Or is he talking about black gangs? Or is he just talking about everybody? I just wanted to raise that question. I'll let you guys answer it, okay? It states here that Republicans, 85%, overwhelmingly say that migrant surge leads to increased crime in the USA. A far smaller share of Democrats, 31%, say the same. The poll found that 63% of Democrats say it does not have much of an impact. And this is just their support. This is just their support for Joe Biden because they don't want him to look any worse than he already looks, family. They don't want him to look any worse than he already looks because they already know his stance with the black community is vastly dropping each and every day. And they know that this is part of it, but they're trying to once again fool black people to say, well, you know, I understand you guys' concern, but we have plenty of funds to house them in your in a lot of the buildings that we should have renovated for black folk, like, you know, schools that are ran down. We're going to renovate them for migrants. We're going to start some tent cities right there in the black neighborhood. So we're going to take care of the migrants, black folk. Don't you guys worry about them. And guess what? They don't increase crime. They don't increase crime. You know, we have hotels, we have shelters, we have a lot of the schools, community centers that we're going to push you guys out, and we're going to put these migrants in. Don't worry about it. And then pretty soon they'll be living right there in the black community with you. Because don't forget what Joe Biden said, family.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Look, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it. Every single American. And you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different.
Yeah, family. Hopefully that jogged your memory. When he was asked about reparations for Foundation of Black American Descendants of Slaves, he started talking about immigration and Hispanics, and how Hispanics are the future of America. Hispanics are not the future of Mexico. Hispanics are not the future of Honduras. Hispanics are not the future of Costa Rica. Hispanics are not the future of Colombia. Hispanics are not the future of Venezuela. Hispanics are not the future of Ecuador. Hispanics are not the future of their own countries, which they are fleeing from to come to America, with the opportunities presented among them and for them was laid by the ground in the blood, sweat, and tears of foundational Black Americans. But they're the future of America. Billions of dollars, family, goes to illegal immigrants. Billions. Driver's license, work permits, hotels, apartments, shelters, stipends, SNAP, EBT, CHIP, all of these programs, all the so-called welfare programs that should be afforded to American citizens, they're being afforded to migrants, illegal immigrants. It states here 2024 crime data from the cities targeted by Texas Operation Lone Star, which buses or flies migrants from the border to major cities in the interior, shows overall crime levels dropping in those cities that have received the most migrants. Yeah. This is public perception problem. It's always based upon these kinds of flashpoints events where an immigrant commits a crime. Yeah, I think they should be highlighting you illegally in the country and you're committing crimes. It's like a person who is in prison and they still committing crimes. You know, but the only difference is you're just going to get more prison time where we can actually deport these guys and strengthen our borders and close the loopholes in our immigration legislation. It states here at least a couple of recent studies show that undocumented immigrants are also not more likely to be involved in crime, in part because of caution about their immigration status. The individual level studies actually show that they're less involved than native-born citizens or second-generation immigrants. So they're stating that the real criminals are the American citizens and those second-generation immigrants, not the ones who are over here now, despite what you see on TV. Despite what you see on TV, there was no evidence that the percentage of unauthorized or authorized immigrant population at the city level impacted shifts in the homicide rates, and no evidence that immigration is connected to robbery at the city level. Yeah, it's, you know, it's kind of weird. So we have these studies, we have these percentages every year. We have these averages, right, of crime in America. And you saying that 3 million, over the past 3 years since Joe Biden's been in office, 10 million illegal immigrants inside the country, and no data shows increase in crime anywhere, even though we have videos, we have reports, we have news that shows us them stabbing, having brawls inside of the street, squatting and taking over people's property illegally, and they are illegally in the country, and we have no data that shows a significant increase in crime. Isn't that staggering? I wonder who controls the information in America. I wonder who's reporting or not reporting such crimes. Very, very interesting. Is that not interesting, or is it just me, family? Am I making this more than what it is? Tell me if I'm making this more than what it is. I want to know. Because at every turn, I continue to see violence.
There's been a definite change.
I've had concerns in the last few months with an influx of new residents at the homeless shelter on the corner.
One woman we spoke to didn't want to show her face on camera, but says since the pandemic, there's been a feeling of unease.
I actually was attacked on the train down the station. Safety is not the word for New York, I feel now.
The fight started outside the former Lincoln Correctional Facility, which is now being used as a temporary shelter for asylum seekers and newly arrived migrants. People who live on this block say this particular shelter isn't the one they're really concerned with, but the other homeless shelter down the block on Lenox Avenue.
There's a lot of people hanging out at the homeless shelter now for the immigrants, and they don't seem to be causing a problem, but the main shelter on Lenox Avenue is the one that we're concerned about for safety.
Police say they did arrest one man from the group for disorderly conduct, but the others took off. We asked people what they feel is needed here.
I need more cops around here.
Really, how we can take care of people.
Okay, who was shocked? Who was shocked? A black man said, who was shocked when the black man said, we need more cops around here? Did a black man say that? We need more cops around here? Because, family, black people aren't anti-police like some of the conservative Republicans may say, and some of the Dixiecrats may say. And I'm not saying all conservative. I'm not saying all Republicans. But, family, black people are not anti-police. We just want good police. We want police who upheld the law. We want police who enforce justice, regardless of your race. Black folk are not anti-police. The only reason why you have songs like F the Police back in the day, because police go after innocent black folk and brutalize us, wrongfully accuse us, wrongfully imprison us. But we want police, right? We just want good policing. Can I back that up? I know some people may be shocked. I wasn't really shocked. Black men say, hey, man, we need some more police over here. We got all this crime in our neighborhoods because they dropped off illegal immigrants and they're committing all sorts of crime. We need more police. That's all I'm stating.
Here.
I need more cops around here.
Really, how we can take care of people from health, mental health, and go from there.
Police tell me.
Yeah, family. So there are citizens crying about all the illegal activity that's going on, okay? That's going on with the illegal immigration. It's not just me, family. I'm not just trumping these things up. And family, there's a lot of things going on with illegal immigrants that you guys don't know. Let me tell you. I came across this clip and I was like, is this in America? Look at this, family. You guys got to watch this. This is on a highway, on a bridge, it seems to be. And these illegal immigrants seem to try to box in and create a roadblock so they can either latch on or take over this truck. Look at this, family. Look at this. Yo, what is going on, family? They set up a roadblock. It seemed to be over 100 illegal immigrants set up a roadblock at night on a bridge to box in a truck and hijack it, latch on. I don't know. It's getting vastly scary. And these are people, again, with Biden's catch and release policy. And I know a lot of liberals, it's not a catch and release policy. Yeah, it's catch and release. If it's loophole in the immigration laws, it's catch and release, okay? Because a lot of us, look, family, can we see this again? And what to point out here, family, if you read some of the comments, people are saying that's terrifying. I'll be shooting. Wow. And people saying proud of you, because when they realized he wasn't going to stop or get out, they started to throw objects at the truck. They started to try to disable the truck. This is highway robbery. This is highway robbery, family. I'm not making this up. So when they tell us, oh, there's no crime, then why are they trying to hijack trucks on the highway? Listen, I'm just asking a question. We got MD Williams in the room. B1 to you, brother. R.A. Wilson says nearly 7 million people have been let in since 2020. Sis, I'm just going to say 10 million. There's been all sorts of reports. I'm just going to stay with 10 millions. No says you're not calling it like it is. Okay, you're not calling it like, okay, gotcha. MD says highway robbery in the real sense. I agree 1,000%. Nose truckers do carry that power tool on them. Somebody listen to Professor Black Truth. I hear you. Did they say we're at in the U.S.? They did not say we're at in the U.S. Let's see here. Carjacking, da-da-da. No, they didn't say where this was. Okay, they didn't say where this was. Rocket Man Matrix said there are New Yorkers who support open borders. They're gonna feel that. Well, they've been feeling the pain, family, because here's my stance on it, right? Because I haven't gave too much commentary on this. When we look at these things, we have to understand that does violence stem from illegal immigration? A portion of it does, right? Because the fact that illegal immigrants who should have no place in the country in the first place, they shouldn't even be in the country to begin with, are not only allowed to stay by are giving shelters in hotels. Think about that. Hotel shelters, schools, plots of land with tent cities, you name it, apartment buildings, work permits, driver's license, Second Amendment rights, all the social services that we can receive, they're receiving more than we are. And when you look at hardworking American struggle to make ends meet, these individuals who have no legal right to be here are giving accommodations paid by your tax dollars. Now, a lot of you will be like, oh, well, a lot of these illegal immigrants come over here for opportunities. They're hardworking. Why didn't they hard work in their country? And please stop telling me about the effing government, because Black folk have been in this country before its inception. Black folk have been here before 1619. Black folk have been here before 1526. But that is where we take the claim, we take the stake of where foundational Black Americans began, with the amalgamation and the mixture of the native Blacks who were already here with the red Mongolian Native Americans as well. So we've been in this country for a very long time. And with the establishment of the European Americans who came over here and genocide one group and made the other group their slave class to build their riches up, once freed, we fought for the rights of our people and we fought for the rights of others to come over as well. So don't tell me about a tyrannical dictatorship of a government, because America was dead. Regardless of what the founding fathers put on Black and white, foundational Black Americans had to fight for amendments. Foundational Black Americans had to fight for amendments to the Constitution for us to receive equal rights, equal justice, and equal opportunities. And we still don't have that today, but everybody else is receiving those benefits and reaping those rewards. So please don't tell me about illegal immigrants coming over here because of opportunity and because their countries are in shambles. That is untrue. I've been to Colombia. I've been to Medellin. And Medellin is a thriving, bustling city, and people are having a great time. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to San Juan. These countries are intact, and these countries are doing well. The people that are coming over here, what class do you think they are? Well, I'll tell you the class that they're not. They're not the business class. They are not the hardworking class. Because when you go to these other countries, you're going to see establishment ran, owned, and operated by their own countrymen. So the question is, why didn't they do it? And I don't care if they're from Mexico. I don't care if they're from Central America. I don't care if they're from the Caribbean, Jamaica, Belize, Honduras, Ecuador, Venezuela. I don't care where they're from. I don't care if they're from Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana. I don't care where they're from. But everybody's coming to America for opportunities, but no one is making opportunities in their countries. And the only excuse that they continue to give you is their government. Don't the people outnumber the government? Don't the citizens of that country outnumber the government? That's telling me that people do not want to stand up and fight. They'd rather flee and leech off a culture leech off of people who have already made a way for themselves or trying to make a way for themselves, but have laid the ground for everybody else to come over and benefit because we live in a white supremacist society. Well, you guys being here, why didn't you pull yourself up by your bootstrap? Because the American government owes us reparations. And by benign neglect, they allow you guys to come over here and reap and benefit off the government system by way of ignoring what they owe to us. See, I'm not going to break this whole thing down, fam. We've heard it. We've heard this plenty of times. We already know what's going on. They tell them they're hard working. They tell us lazy. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But when we look at the totality of the violence, the migrants emboldened by the lack of consequences for their illegal actions, because they're literally getting locked up and being released back into the public. They're not even getting deported at this point. They were getting deported at a certain point. There are certain states who are trying to make legislation stating that if a illegal immigrant commits a crime, they're going to be deported. But because our borders have loopholes and cracks and crevices, and we're capturing and releasing inside of America, they'll be back in 3 days. They'll be back in 72 hours. Even though we see that a lot of the violence taken to the street, because they are literally engaging in full out turf wars with American citizens caught in the crossfire. We've had report. We understand that the young lady got stabbed by some illegal immigrants. You guys know about that story. You heard about the squatting stories. You heard about the brawls in the street. Innocent bystanders going about their daily lives are being toyed and assaulted with. We heard about the guy who was pushed through the apartment glass of illegal immigrants that's throwing things and messing with the people. But no one wants to talk about that. And yet we see all these empty promises and rhetoric outside the Democratic Party, and their refusal to take decisive action, but they want your vote. And a lot of black folk, my great-grandmother, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, they all vote Democrat. And some of you are just falling in line because for some strange reason, we cannot fathom the act of not voting. Like, well, no, I got to vote. What are you voting for? Anything is better than Donald Trump. And then you have those people who are going to vote for Donald Trump. Well, Biden did this and Biden did that. What have they done for black folk? If the Democratic class is the class for poor folk, if the Democratic class is the class for black folk, then wouldn't they do something significant for black folk that does not include everybody else? They did it for Asians. They're doing it for Latinos. So when they're going to do something specifically for black folk? I'm just asking. Because there is a solution. There's not some magic bullet or anything like that. But we must enforce our existing immigration laws, family, and close the loopholes on immigration laws that allow these things to occur, and stop having the government to turn a blind eye about this, because it's still going on. I'm telling you, listen, have you guys ever been to all these other countries? I remember me and a buddy for our retirement party, we went to the Dominican Republic, and we hired a driver, right? And he took us to, forgot the capital city of Dominican Republic. I think it's Santo Domingo. It's Santo Domingo, if I'm right. And we was driving there. I had to close my eyes. The roads were fine, but people drove and drive however they want in a lot of these countries. The lanes, you have the lines on the road for the lanes. That's just a suggestion. You know how you have stoplights, like our brother Gerd A. Morgan invented the three light stoplight. Okay, Gerd A. Morgan also created the gas mask. Want to point that out. Remember the Foundation Black America and Gerd A. Morgan, who created the 3-stop traffic light? Yeah, that's just a suggestion in a lot of countries that I've been to. They see red and they just keep going. They just kind of get in where they fit in. Family, what do you think is going to happen to American culture when we have 40% of Americans that are illegal immigrants? Do you guys understand the amount of people that's coming over here illegally? I don't know if you guys understand that. And a lot of people are for illegal immigration. I don't get it. I'm for legal immigration, not illegal immigration, family. Because if we continue down this path of complacency and apathy, allowing our street to become battlegrounds for those who have no respect, for those who have no respect for the rule of law in America, not only is violence going to increase, but the culture of America is going to increase. See, the fall of Rome didn't happen overnight. No, it slowly imploded and denigrated on itself for multiple reasons. And if people don't believe in overpopulation, because a lot of these illegal immigrants are being dropped off and they're being pushed to a lot of these cities. They're not being pushed to rural areas, they're being pushed to the cities. MD says they couldn't bootstrap up in them joints. Excuse me, still getting over a little cold here. MD says if they act like criminals, I'm going to call it a criminal. Absolutely. Tube says some migrants had an entire racketeering ring and they didn't even get any time. Shaking my head. Yeah, there was a group, and I don't know if you're referring to this one. There was a group, a Vietnamese group, who were doing a racketeering ring. They were doing the catalytic converters. They amount $5 million of catalytic converters. So if you're one of those ones who went out to your car and you started it up and it started throwing all these codes like your catalytic converter, and you looked under your hood, you were like, wait a minute, who stole my catalytic converter? And they're stating that a lot of the people who were stealing these catalytic converters were doing it in 1 minute or less. Because these catalytic converters, what they have in them, family, what they have platinum in it, they're stealing for its platinum or they're reselling it. Yeah. That's what's going on here, family. MD says they're emptying the prison. These are the ones we're getting. Absolutely. We're not getting the ones who are creating businesses. We're not getting the ones who want to use the opportunities in their own countries. No, we're not getting them. How many parasites can a host support? Thank you. Before that host dies. That's a good point. This place is about to crash in chaos. Okay? Jim Crow Joe said he won't pay reparations for FBA family. And we got to stay on their necks about that. We're going to get our reparations, family. Anything that Black Americans continue to push on, we're going to get. We have to stay consistent. He said migrants built this country. Not us, two wings of the same damn bird. Absolutely correct. Migrants built this country. Well, wait a minute. How did migrants build a country that they came to? Think about that. This wasn't a country until Black Americans built it. And everybody knows this, right? A lot of times we're getting to these verbal disputes with white supremacists and white supremacist adjacent, and they know the history of how this country was built. First, like, no, illegal immigrants, and then you give them the timeline. Well, yeah, the slaves built some of it. Yeah, you built some of the early railroads. Yeah, you built some of the early roads. Yeah, you built some of the national capitol and the Lincoln Memorial and the White House. And yeah, you built some of the townships. But then the migrants came over and helped you guys out and built the rest. Oh, that's what occurred. But you guys couldn't build that without the slave masters because you guys didn't know how to build. Oh, we didn't know how to build. We didn't know how to build. Wow. So the Moors who civilized Europe with medicines and herbs and spices and sewage in a sewage system, they taught us how to build. But we were illiterate, we were dumb, we were stupid, we were 3/5 of a human. So how could we read blueprint plans? Did you get a couple of slave masters out there? Jim, Bob, Tony, get those bricks. We're gonna show these slaves how it's done. We're gonna make this monstrosity like we did back in ancient Greece, and we're gonna stack them up. And we're gonna use this mortar. Get some of that red clay out of Texas and add a little water to it. Put a little horse manure and make it sticky and build these things up. No, you didn't show us shit. White supremacists show foundational Black American ancestors how to build anything. Let's get that straight. Maybe the railroad. Maybe you showed us that. Okay. But building structures, no. Building structures, no. No. But family, that's all what I have for you this evening. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. Thank you all. But for those who are just tuning in, let me show you what your president said about reparations for foundational Black America.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Look, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different. And we.
Well, family, let me tell you this. Joe Biden did not lie. When he stated that Hispanics are the future of America, he backed this thing up 1,000%. And that's why I'm on the couch for 2024. And if you guys are in the DC area, my hometown, if you guys are in the DC area, I encourage you all to join the FBA Rally for Reparations. Okay. I encourage everybody to go out and support the Rally for Reparations. They're going to have a lot of great speakers. They're going to have Riza Islam. They're going to have Dr. Randy Short. They're going to have our brothers Afro Elite, our brothers Black Alpha. They're going to have Vicky Dillard. They may have some other people. I will not be there. I did not get invited. I probably start a riot if they invite my ass. So Tariq, if you're listening, don't invite me, brother, because I'm gonna tell it like it is. Okay, I'm gonna be like Khalid Muhammad up there. I'm gonna be like Khalid. You know, they had to put Khalid Muhammad outside the Nation of Islam because he told it like it is. I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm gonna be saying all sorts of buzzwords. They're gonna be like, don't put that on the video. Don't put that on the FBA rally. So I get it. Nah, I'm just kidding. Go support the FBA Rally for Reparations. We need a really big turnout because this is how you show a people that's on one accord. This is the same thing that Dr. King did when he was galvanizing and unifying and organizing Black people around the country, and LBJ had to pass the civil rights. So the more FBA rallies for reparations that we have, family, and the larger crowds that we have will apply pressure to either party to create legislation that gives us not only cash payments, but make Black American a protected class as well. Let me read some of your comments here. MD says the Confederates came looking for my family, Kentucky, because they were the ones who could break horses and had the territory map. Absolutely. We already had the skills. We already had the skills. Tube says, can't wait, Brother Lodge. I'm already scheduled for the event. You're there in spirit, brother. Absolutely. I'll be there in spirit. And I'm from DC. I would be there, but I have so many other obligations to attend to. I really do. Okay. If I was invited a while back, I would have attended it, but it wasn't really on my radar. But I'm glad that they're doing this once again. And I think he wants to do this rally for reparations. I think this is every other year now. Okay. I don't know if they're going to move to every year, but I'm going to really try to make the next one. Okay. I'm really going to try to make the next one. But anyway, family, you guys have a great and wonderful day. And I see you guys on the next one. Be one.